Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the El Cajon City Council meeting. The meeting is now called to order, and I would like to ask our city clerk to please call the roll.
All council members are present.
Would you all stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for a brief moment of silence afterwards? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, the city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the May 9th, 2023 and the agenda of the May 23rd, 2023 meeting in accordance with state law, city council and housing authority policy. We have 4 presentations on today's agenda. The first one will be from the San Diego County Fair. I'd like to invite Tristan Hallman, the Chief Communications Officer, to share with us about the fair. Hi, Tristan.
Hi, how are you? Do we have the PowerPoint queued up? All right, well, we're good to go. Thank you so much, and thank you, Mayor Wells, members of the City Council, staff. Thank you to everyone who came out at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday for my presentation. That's very kind of you. I am pleased to present on the 2023 San Diego County Fair. It starts on June 7th, so we're very close to the beginning of it. The fairgrounds are being prepared now, and so I'm Tristan Hallman. I'm the Chief Communications Officer of the 22nd Agricultural District of California. We put on the San Diego County Fair, more commonly known as the Del Mar Fairgrounds. So, as I said, it begins June 7th. This year's theme, as you can see, is Get Out There. It's a celebration of exploring all the recreational opportunities that our county has to offer, including, of course, the fair. We're really excited for you to take our sort of show on the road and show our communities and our cities out throughout the county everything that we have in store. So I'm going to start with a little video here that kind of gives a flavor of our theme. And I think you got to hit play. So I hope that gets you excited for it, gets you in the mood. So as I mentioned, this year's theme is about exploring our county. We're excited about our theme exhibit that we'll have this year. Every day we'll have activities and outdoor enthusiasts and local experts on hand to help our guests learn and grow. But before you get to the fair, we have an opportunity for you to participate by exploring San Diego County's regional parks in our Get Out There Challenge. So you can see the rules up there. You know, if you visit parks and you tag us on social media, you can read about this on sdfair.com. But there are prizes in play at the end of this. So, you know, you get out there before the fair and you get out to the fair, and we celebrate all that San Diego County has to offer. In addition to parks, beaches, and trails, here's a look at what we have to offer when you get out there to the San Diego County Fair. All right, as you can see, we have a variety of great grandstand acts this year from different genres, so including pop, reggae, country, local rock favorites, and comedy. So Train is going to be there on opening night. Kevin Hart will be there during the opening weekend. You can see the rest of the acts there. You can buy your tickets online, sdfair.com. I should note that our grandstand acts are not included in the price of admission. However, when you buy tickets to a grandstand show, it does include admission to everything else our fair has to offer. Yep, wrong way. Okay, and the fair, and that includes, so we have free performances that are included with admission. In fact, we have more than 250 community performers, so entertainment options. You know, you'll see the stilt walkers out there, ground shows. We have very popular pig races. And right now you can see all of the bands that will be playing in our Chevrolet Paddock concert series. Again, that's included with admission. And as part of our summer camp schedule, we'll also have a series of fun festivals, including celebrations of music. Music heritage and inclusivity, and we'll also have what we call the farm to glass options. Those are wine and beer festivals. And speaking of farms, you can make your own personal discovery of agriculture when you visit the fair. For example, we also have Ag Ventureland in addition to these offerings, which is a place where kids can participate in agricultural education activities. In California grown, you can visit the camel dairy and the petting zoo. So a lot of options for kids, a lot of options for education, agricultural education. And this year, fair had a couple of years off, but this year we'll have the outdoor garden show will be back in full bloom. So like any good summer camp, we're also offering friendly competitions. So you can make your way through these exhibits to see the badges, really ribbons that your neighbors in San Diego County have won. And on many days we'll have live sidewalk chalk painting, photo shoots, and other demonstrations. You can check out our daily schedule, again, sdfair.com. Youth engagement, as I mentioned before, very important to us. We're very proud of our Plant, Grow, Eat program. Starting in the spring, we visit more than 6,000 students at their schools to introduce them to agriculture. Then at the fair, we welcome those students and teachers to show off the plants. They have grown from the seeds that we provided them. So it's a great way to see. It's not just a one-month event for us. It's something that we're planting the seeds for all year round, so to speak. And if all of that entertainment and education is enough for you, there's always adventures in rides and food. So we'll have a full array of rides. So there's something fun for everyone. We have got 2 new rides, as you can see there, Medusa and Joker 360. They're so new, we don't even have the photos of them fully assembled yet. So we're hoping that'll be fun for you. But if you want something more traditional, we, of course, have the Ferris wheel, the teacups. You can go on the slides, tickle your tummies doing that. And we're excited to showcase these 2 new rides, and you can always test your abilities and skills on our games of skill in the Carnival Midway. So if you're looking for more of a gastronomical adventure, we're offering, which may actually be worse for your stomach perhaps than some of the rides, but very delicious on the way down. So if you're looking for that, we've got some new food options. We've got some theme food options. I'm probably going to try the peanut butter and jelly fried chicken sandwich, but we'll see how it goes. If you want the 1-pound block of fried mozzarella, I'd recommend maybe sharing it among the council and not trying it on your own. You've got nothing to prove. When you'll have plenty of room to walk around at the fair and burn off some of these calories and fried and sugary delights that we have. But we'll also be offering plant-based options. I should note that. So something a little closer to the ground, so to speak, this year from Wicked Kitchen. And like our rides, we will have something for everyone. So if the 1-pound block of mozzarella isn't your thing, you can find something else that you'll like. So most importantly, how do we help you get out there? It takes a little while to drive out there. You're probably going to want to know, can I park? Yes, you can. You can park for free at Torrey Pines High School. You can park at the horse park nearby with $10. Both of those have shuttle service. General parking, $15. If you buy it online in advance, $20. If you buy it on site, it is cashless, so probably better to buy online anyway if you want to do that. And preferred parking is $50. We also have transit options available, so if you're able to, depending on where you're coming from, of course, to get out there on the public transit, that's an option, and you can get some real savings. So finally, as you prepare for your big adventure at the fair, we want to emphasize, like I just did, that you should buy early. You can avoid the lines and buy online. Here is our deals on Fridays. I should note in June, it's free for kids 12 and under, so take your family on Fridays if you can. Children 5 and younger can get in free every day. So just like parking and everything else, if you buy in advance, you can save. You can also save on several deals. There's ways to save money on admission. If you go to Albertsons and Vons, you can get $3 off if you get a code and you buy online. And there's a bunch of other options available as well. So, with that, I want to thank you for your time today. I want to encourage you to connect with us on social media. You all should have gotten an email inviting you to our summer social or one of those events this summer. We hope to see you there. And with that, I'll be happy to take any questions that you have.
Thanks, Tristan. Any questions?
Just a quick comment. We were able to attend last year's superhero theme, and my 5-year-old son just went bananas with it. So make sure you tip your hat to whoever brought the superhero, Marvel, Hulk, Spider-Man, all of it. It was a blast. So we're looking forward to go this year as well.
Absolutely. And would you yield to a question?
Oh, absolutely.
When you say he went bananas with it, could you?
I mean, we had to drag him out of the fair because he wanted to stay. And
Yeah.
the huge, larger-than-life figurines, I mean, the Hulk that was like 20 feet tall, I mean, it was really, really awesome. So,
Well, that's fantastic.
knocked it out of the park.
Well, hopefully he likes the camping theme as well.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to top Marvel, but he loves the games and the prizes. But they love the fair. I went when I was a kid. Now I'm taking my son. So, fantastic tradition. Thank you.
Else? Just curious, did you shoot that commercial last year?
Yes, that was actually shot at last year's fair. So if you look really carefully, you could probably see some signs of last year's, but it was done in advance.
You guys are working way ahead of time. That's good.
We try to. It always feels like everything comes together at the last minute, but that was one thing that was planned ahead.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sorry. The San Diego County Fair has always been one of the best things this summer.
Yeah, well, please encourage your constituents to come. We'd love to see them there.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. All right, next we have a presentation for America on Main Street and Foodie Fest. Frank Carson, our Director of Parks and Recreation, will share with us about this day.
Thank you, Mary. Just give me a second to set up.
Sure.
Okay, I just want to do a brief highlight of our event this past weekend, America on Main Street. First, I'd like to welcome up our two sponsors, Alberto Vasquez from Cox Communications. Would you come on up? We decided to do something a little different this year, and these are plaques, mosaic plaques actually made by Piece by Piece. It's a service program in Southern California that bring individuals that were homeless out of transition to making art projects. So we thought it was more fitting to award them with a sponsorship plaque, something a little more meaningful. So thank you, Alberto, and Cox Communication for your sponsorship. You want to say anything?
Just thank you again for having this opportunity to help serve the community. I know it's been about 4 years since the last event, and Cox Communications, we're just very proud to be a part of it and to help the residents that we serve here in El Cajon. Thank you.
Thanks for doing it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I also like to invite up Roger Doherty. I saw him. Okay. Kaiser Permanente has been a sponsor from the beginning of this event, and we're always grateful to have them, as well as at Haunt Fest. He has a different type of mosaic, again, Piece by Piece, the Southern California group that does transitional housing for homeless individuals.
Well, thank you so much. It was great to be back in person and to have the event live again. Fantastic. Congratulations. It was a beautiful day, and look forward to many more years of supporting America on Main Street. Thank you.
Thanks, Roger.
Okay, so as council knows, especially at our presentation in January, we were intending of having USCIS, or United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, actually do a naturalization ceremony as a pre-event. We met with their director of their West Coast operations, and they just didn't have the capacity this year. So we had to try to regroup and figure out how can we try to bring people into the event early enough so we could have some bodies in the event earlier in the day. So we did the opening of opportunity drawing prizes, and you see the mayor there playing guitar, the Taylor guitar, as part of it. But we were able to raffle off or opportunity drawing off many other prizes for the community to try to come and bring some bodies in just at the beginning of the event, try to fill the space, so to speak. But again, next year, the Naturalization Service said they're going to do everything they can to come back. So hopefully we can do that. At our Foodie Fest event, it ended up being sold out on the day of. We sold more tickets on the day of. If you saw it at 3:30, it was definitely packed at 3:30, and then at 6 o'clock when I went by again, it was maybe about 50 people at that time. So we're looking at different ways, if council wanted to bring that back, to actually do maybe a 3:30 time, and then maybe like a 5 o'clock time of selling different wristbands, so not all maybe 500 people right then and there aren't jam-packing it at the moment, but it was definitely received well. Looking at maybe changing locations of it, maybe a little bit, not in a parking lot, but a little bit more hospitable area to make it a little more friendly looking. And then we definitely had a large of attractions with our free rides. All rides are free. And I know the mayor likes to call it like El Cajon's Fair. One way how I've been promoting the event in the last 2 weeks has really been El Cajon's biggest block party. It was always a little bit hard to say America on Main Street. It's on Armed Forces Day. It's celebrating America, that we have our diversity in our community, but more pushing out their word of mouth marketing. That's our biggest block party is an easier way for people to associate with. So that's more of what we're trying to do. And then we did have our entertainment throughout the event at different times. As you see, we had the Arts in Motion on the left, old school skaters, as well as almost 30 acts providing entertainment for free to the community. We had a lot of free activities, not only face painting, airbrush tattoo, petting zoo, many other opportunities such as the Public Works Zone. And I kind of want to recognize all the gentlemen and ladies from Public Works here today. If you could do me a favor and stand up if you worked America on Main Street, any part of it. I want to show council how many of you actually did. So, thank you, everybody. As you can see, this is a citywide event. This is a huge city effort, not only with Public Works, Parks and Recreation. The police department had at least 25 sworn officers dedicated to this event. We had fire personnel. We had paramedics at the event. The pre-event warm-up, we have our purchasing agent, Mara Romano, as well as many other people within the finance department. You have IT helping us. Big congratulations to Chris Berg, our marketing engagement manager, for helping promote the event also. And that's something that I do want to talk about here is, I know council asked, what is your marketing plan? What are your marketing ideas? What did you do? And our goal is to at least hit everybody 7 different ways. As you may have seen the billboard in the promenade, that was been up there for a month. That was a big promo item. Sent out emails to about 17,000 households, text messages to almost 2,000 people that agreed to receive our text messages. We did street banners, flyers, posters throughout the school districts, as well as some businesses, news releases. It was on the back cover of our spring newsletter that was mailed to every household. I lost track of how many social media posts we did, and we did do a lot. Save the date postcards. That image right there I wanted to share with you because this is one of the most effective marketing tools right there. That is the desktop image on over 15,000 Chromebooks within the Cajon Valley Union School District. So the school district, working in conjunction with the school district, we have that collaborative effort of actually marketing each other's programs, and this is something they do for free for us for a limited time. This, as well as Haunt Fest, they do that free marketing for us. So every student in the school district knew about it one way or another. Other marketing pieces include what our staff, as well as Chris Berg, our marketing engagement manager, were able to do, promoting the event through different type of social media posts, and very grateful for new ways of marketing the event to try to get the word out any way we can. This is some of the comments we had with a post that was after the event. And so I want to just highlight some of these. These were just a screenshot, all in order, copy and paste of ones I liked. This was just all in a row, and it was really nice to see people saying I was there to celebrate with people. The party was great, fun time. Kids loved the rides. We had a great time and enjoyed the foodie fest. It was fun. So these are what I want to see, but probably the most effective marketing is word of mouth marketing. And this is where we get the community right there. They're posting on El Cajon happenings about how much they like the event. This was a year that we tried to revive the event. We added the event within the event of Foodie Fest. We're very happy with the outcome. We recognize there's a lot of areas that we want to improve on, but it was nice to see the event revived in many ways. I do want to recognize our police department. And I was having fun with Sergeant Eric Thornton, who's actually a sergeant responsible for traffic, because he was there late, just standing in the middle of the road, making sure that we could open up the street, keeping everybody out of the road so we could open it. So I definitely want to recognize police and fire also for all their support. And that concludes my presentation.
Thanks. Let me see if there's any questions. Phil?
Just a quick comment. Once again, Frank and the whole staff, thank you for putting in the extra effort for this great event. I want to just kind of highlight the two presentations we've had so far. One was this Del Mar Fair, is what I'll call it, and then America on Main Street. And the Del Mar Fair costs a ton of money to go to, and America on Main Street doesn't. And I think the council and the mayor all share the same vision in that, you know, in El Cajon, we have a lot of families that might not be able to afford the Del Mar Fair because it costs a ton of money. I grew up poor, and it's hard not going to these big events when you see all your friends going to it too. And so we try and bring Haunt Fest and America on Main Street right in the backyard of families where kids, you know, can't go to these things. And so it's a free event for all the rides so they can get a little taste of that summertime county fair vibes and feel with music. And so I just thought it was very fitting. We have the two presentations back to back, and I'm very proud, you know, that we're able to provide this for the community, and our staff puts in the extra effort because it goes a long way for our kids in our community that can't afford to go to Disneyland or Legoland or these big things. So thank you very much. Your effort does not go unnoticed, and yeah, let's make next year bigger and better.
Thank you.
Gary?
This is the city's gift to the children of El Cajon. All the rides are free, lots of great stuff to do, lots of smiles on kids' faces. When I walked through there, I felt just such joy. So I really appreciate everyone's hard work, from Public Works to all of our staff. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just want to echo what the guys said, and you did a wonderful job. This is what a lot of people say. We're a big city in a sense of over 107,000 people, but it's still got that small town feel. And that's really important to a lot of people. And I appreciate all the work that all of you out in Public Works, you were out there working, helping everybody, being just friendly and doing your job, but yet it's very much appreciated by the citizens. And your commitment to the city is super important. What you do on a daily basis is noticed, but being available and coming out on the weekends, giving up your weekend to provide entertainment and provide services to the city and the residents is very much appreciated, and I thank you so much.
Again, please thank all of your staff and all the people that work for the city of El Cajon that put their time and effort into this. And you, Frank, thank you for all the work you do.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, now we have a proclamation for National Public Works Week. And I'll ask our Director of Public Works, Yasmin Arellano.
Hi,
She's already here.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, Council members. I'm Yasmin Arellano, Director of Public Works, and I would like to invite the Public Works staff here present to join me in accepting today's proclamation in honor of National Public Works Week.
Excellent. Come on up, everybody. It's like 90% of the audience.
So national. Let me just tell you a little bit about National Public Works Week. So National Public Works Week is celebrated on the third whole week of May every year to celebrate and honor the efforts of our Public Works employees to recognize the importance in our society. And this week-long celebration sheds light on the brave and essential role that our employees play in our residents' lives. We kicked off our celebration this year by putting together a video highlighting the connection of our department with our community. And so we have our proclamation. So thank you so much. We thank you. We thank you for the proclamation. We thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoy this video. And I would like to thank all the Public Works staff for your hard work always. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Mike James, and I'm your Deputy Director of Public Works here at the City of El Cajon. Today I wanted to talk about the multiple aspects of how your Public Works Department provides services to you each and every day. And those services range from big capital improvement projects to smaller maintenance projects that may occur out in the parks. Let's take a look at some of the ways that our Public Works Department enhances the quality of life for all residents, businesses, and guests. So let's start first with our streets, traffics, and park maintenance divisions. So these divisions are probably the more popular divisions because you're going to see them out and about on any given day throughout the city. So our streets division, you'll typically find them filling potholes throughout our city streets. You'll also see them finding and replacing street signs at various locations. The Parks Maintenance Division focuses upon maintaining your open green space at all of our parks. Not to mention, they also inspect, repair, and make sure that all of our playground equipment is safe and usable for you to enjoy. Now let's talk about our team members that work within our flood and wastewater divisions. Now, these employees you probably don't see on a daily basis, or you may have never seen them. But in this instance, in our flood division, these are our team members that are consistently down within our flood channel, removing all the trash and all the debris to make sure that the surface water is as clean as possible when it flows through the city. And they're partnered with our wastewater division. Simply put, the wastewater division is there to make sure that our sewer mains are clear and usable, so when you flush the toilet, it works. And they do so by jetting it, or they will camera it. And in both instances, they take an assessment of the pipes, and they will continue forward to make sure that it's as clean as possible to serve your needs every day. In our engineering division, first and foremost is stuff that you probably see every single day, and that's in our capital improvement program. Here, engineers are working on designing major construction projects that you see throughout the city. And those projects are then turned over to the Construction Management and Inspection Division. Those teammates are moving forward with the idea of making sure that what was committed to being built in the field is inspected and constructed in the manner that it was designed. And the land development portion of the engineering division will perform plan checks and issue the necessary permits for development to occur within the city. And our traffic engineering group, as a part of the engineering division, will focus on evaluating and approving traffic projects that impact the city's roadway. They will also oversee our streetlight and traffic signal maintenance projects. Our fleet group of the operations division has a very, very critical task, and that's making sure that all of our vehicles and equipment are safe to operate and can be easily used on a daily basis. They can maintain a fleet of over 400 vehicles and equipment. And our fleet group doesn't just take care of public works vehicles. They're also taking care of all of our fire vehicles and police vehicles that you see every day that our first responders are using to safely and timely respond to calls for service. And now our facilities group. So this group is really the group that takes care of the rest of the city team. And they do so because they take care of every single one of our city facilities, from City Hall to the Magnolia, to our fire stations, and to each and every rec center that you'll see throughout the city. And they do a number of things on a daily basis, from plumbing, electrical, roof repair, you name it, they do it. And it's because of that daily dedication that they have it gives the rest of the City Hall the ability to perform their duties in the best manner as possible. We hope you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look into what the Public Works Department does every day to keep El Cajon running.
Thank you very much. So, and since we're here, I'm very proud. If we can go into the last presentation for today,
absolutely.
if it's okay. Very proud to share with you that 2 of our team members received recognition from the American Public Works Association for the San Diego and Imperial Counties region. So we have Sydney Grube, who was honored with the 2023 Young Leader Award.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And we have Senan Kachi, who was honored with the 2023 Outstanding Service in a Public Agency Award. And our very own Deputy Mayor Steve Goebel delivered the keynote speaker speech at the event. We were
very nice.
Glad of that. Thank you.
Hey, listen, thank you, every single one of you. This is like a big family, and we really appreciate all the hard work you do. We know how hard you work, a lot harder than us. So thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to lose 90% of our audience. Now, you got to stay for the whole meeting.
Unfortunately, Mayor, you'd have to pay most of them overtime because they just got off 2 minutes ago.
All right, go away. Go.
Yeah, clock
quickly.
out.
Okay, we're now to agenda changes. Staff, do you have any agenda changes?
No, sir.
Council? No. That brings us to consent items. Consent items are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendation listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or person in attendance may request discussion of a consent item at this time. Council members, do you wish to pull any of the consent items? Staff? And do we have any speaker cards for consent items?
We do, sir. We have item 8, pulled by Ivan Boji.
Come up, sir.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak as a citizen of El Cajon, as well as a project manager for Ayuma Planning construction company. We recently submit a bid on a Stony Park project here in El Cajon, and the project requirements clearly stated that the required license for this project is a Class B general license or the other 2 licenses mentioned. Now, to start, our general contractor for the company of Ayuma Planning, he has a California Class B general contractor license, a 20-year of experience as an engineer, a California PE license, 10-year of experience as a design manager for the U.S. Navy, and over 9 years of experience in assembly and processing heavy machinery. Equipment. As far as our bid, we have provided all of our necessary documents for this project, including the information for the subcontractor to install the playground tiles, which is actually the only one certified by the Sole Surface company, the supplier of the DuraSafe tiles requested for this project by the city of El Cajon. Now, to conclude, I want to go ahead and ask the question, why are all those bids being rejected, especially ours?
Okay. Graham, do you want to discuss this?
Certainly, and staff's here to answer any other questions too. But as we looked at the bid documents and how the responses came in, it was pretty clear that there was some ambiguity in the bid documents. In one place it said an inspector and an installer. Another place it said an installer or an inspector. So you could have two different companies bidding on two very different things. To us, it made more sense to cease the process once we recognized what was going on and to rebid the process. So this has nothing to do with the bid that was submitted by this company. It actually has to do with the ambiguity of our bid documents.
Was there a bid awarded?
There was not. So that's what we're recommending this afternoon is to cease the process of this bid, reject all the bids, and start over.
How long does that take?
Mr. Carson, what's the duration? When do you think we'll get back on the street?
Most likely get back to the point that we're at right now is about 3 months. Most likely, somewhere around there.
Council, any questions? Steve?
So, do you expect a different result, or?
The problem is if there were two different areas that were asking for two different things, you could imagine one bidder would bid on the and another bidder would bid on the or, and those would be two very different dollar amounts. So our concern is if the low bidder were to be approved or accepted, there would be a bid protest and they would have a good good standing.
Are we sure we're going to get this bid language right this time? Because to the public, these people spend a lot of money preparing their bids, and we goofed.
Absolutely. That's why we're recommending to pull this back.
I would recommend we expedite this in fairness to those who spent time and money to do that. So that would be I think our fair fix would be to expedite and get accurate the process.
Absolutely.
More questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Boji. I appreciate you coming. I'm sorry that this was an inconvenience and a burden for your company.
That's completely okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
You will rebid again? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay, then. Anybody on the council want to pull any of the consent items? I'll make a motion then to approve all the consent items. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Great. That brings us to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council, Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, City Council and Housing Authority members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Angela, do we have any speaker cards for public comment?
Sir, we do. We have one card from Miss Billy Sangster.
Not the one and only Miss El Cajon.
It is.
All right. To what do we owe the honor?
I will get to that at the end of my speech. So firstly, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm the current Miss El Cajon, Vanessa Hanna. Before I go into why I'm here, I want to share the experience I've had with this title. Firstly, I've been given the opportunity to meet so many amazing people, make so many amazing connections that have gotten to me to where I am today. I'm a graduate of SDSU. I currently am a senior producer at KUSI News in San Diego. I recently received an Emmy nomination for my work at the station, all things that wouldn't have been possible without the skills and tools given to me by opportunities like this and scholarship pageants like this. I would like to say, which is the reason why I'm here is I'm happy to announce the 60th anniversary pageant happening on July 21st. And with your support, we can continue to help and inspire young women across the county. So that's it. And I have flyers.
Okay. Well, I'm sure there's some questions. I have one. Are you going to stay in broadcasting, or are you going to be?
I quite enjoy it. Yeah, I've
camera?
only been doing it about 2 years. I started as a writer about 2 years ago. I quickly moved up. In about 3 months, I became a producer, and a year later, I became their senior producer on Nightside. And I've seen you there many times. And I think Teresa talked to you earlier today.
She did.
Yeah.
She told me you were coming. She was very proud.
Yeah, everyone is. And everyone was trying on the crown and sash. It was really fun.
That's great.
Yes.
You share it then.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's for the crown is for the people.
You've accomplished a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you had talked to me when I was a kid, I was the type of kid that would like hide behind my mom and not talk and like be like, oh, can you ask this person something? And I mean, the reason I probably got the jobs I've gotten in my life is because the interviews I've done through pageants that have prepared me for my careers. So I owe a lot to the scholarship pageants, especially Miss El Cajon, because I've been able to meet so many people like you, Mr. Wells, and continue to develop those relationships.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Well, where's the event, and can you tell the public a little bit about the event and what it entails?
It's a 60th anniversary pageant. It's July 21st. I believe it is free to.
We don't have a venue yet.
Oh, we don't have a venue.
Okay.
So I mean.
For suggestion.
Okay.
Yes.
We will be on the hunt.
Yes, that would be helpful.
Well, thank you for representing El Cajon so well. We appreciate you.
No, I appreciate for you guys allowing me to have the time, so thank you.
All right, thanks very much. We'll see you on the news. Okay. I guess that brings us to public hearings. We have one item to consider. Item 11 is a zoning code update. I'll ask staff to tell us about that. Hi, Noah.
Thank you, Mayor. Just 1 second.
Take your time.
So good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. Again, Noah Alvey with the Community Development Department, presenting this item for the zoning code update. The zoning code update today is primarily related to housing, economic development, hotel and motel lodging regulations, and then fireworks. But it also includes some other minor changes, really just intended to improve clarity and consistency throughout our zoning code. So starting here with housing, the proposed updates seek to align the height and setback requirements for accessory dwelling units and urban lot splits. Really the intent here is to be more user-friendly to the public so that each of these types of dwelling units have the same requirements and we're speaking the same language to people when they're coming into the counter. The changes would also allow ADUs to have a maximum size restriction of 1,200 square feet. And then we're also proposing to increase the height requirements in the RM 2200 and RM 6000 zones from 20 to 25 feet. So one of the main RM 6000 zones is in the Bostonia area. So it has a 20-foot height limitation. Based on the new ADU regulations, we're seeing a lot of two-story houses being proposed. They're coming in with flat roofs. And so we're getting a lot of comments from developers saying, we'd much rather Noah put in a pitched roof on this house, and I think it would look better and kind of match the surrounding community. Yeah. So the proposed update here is to go from 20 to 25 feet, put in that flexibility so that they can have a better design. So next, for economic development, we are proposing a new land use category, and that's for new automobile displays. As an example, Tesla operates out at UTC Mall in La Jolla, and they have their display inside the mall, and they conduct sales activities. The idea here is to allow a similar use at Parkway Plaza or in other commercial zones, so we're just trying to anticipate the types of new models for automobile sales that may come to the city. So we're paving the way so that that can be approved if it comes to the city of El Cajon. And then additionally, in the commercial land use table, we're proposing to update veterinary hospitals to align with other medical uses. It was discovered that medical uses are allowed in the office professional zone, but there's different regulations for veterinary hospitals. We're just looking to really align those two, so if there's a proposal to adapt or reuse a medical office, it has both of those opportunities. And then for lodging establishments, we're proposing to update the deemed approved lodging establishment ordinance to add definitions for emergency housing placement program, as well as service providers. And then we're also proposing to add standards for human trafficking training, as well as monthly reporting. We also want to improve procedures related to the violation of performance standards, and then add additional criminal or nuisance activities that would warrant potential public hearings moving forward. So really just a comprehensive cleanup of that section of the code to make sure that we're everything's clear and concise and easy to implement on the staff side of things. We're also proposing to add the metric of up to 1 nuisance call per room per year and allow the city to recover costs associated with nuisance activities through the city's existing nuisance abatement procedures. So really all the changes to the deemed approved lodging ordinance are intended that the city is properly monitoring transient occupancy tax collection, and they're intended to help staff and the lodging establishments really make sure that we're on the same page and we're working together to improve operations and then reduce nuisance calls. So the last section here is for fireworks. We're proposing a new section under miscellaneous and special uses to allow fireworks under certain circumstances and subject to noticing criteria. Right now it requires a conditional use permit. What the update would do is it would allow Shadow Mountain Community Church to have their 4th of July fireworks celebration without having to get a conditional use permit. Similarly, over the years, Granite Hills High School has done fireworks displays. They have an existing conditional use permit. What we want to do is just codify the regulations and make sure that there's noticing procedures that are in place for fireworks displays so that these larger entities can continue to conduct those activities. And then we're going to leave the conditional use permit procedure in place for anything that goes beyond that by right criteria. So really just streamlining the process for those people, those individuals that are conducting those activities right now. So the Planning Commission unanimously supported the proposed updates to the zoning code, and the staff recommendation is to approve the zoning code amendment. And happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Michelle?
Couple of questions. Going back to the motels, I want to know when will these changes take effect, and how will the motels be notified and monitored?
So the changes would take effect if the council approves the first reading today. There would be a second reading, and then they would become effective 30 days afterwards.
Okay.
We'll definitely, community development will send out a notification to all existing motel and hotel lodging establishments, notifying them of the changes, and then asking them to work with staff in conjunction with the new requirements.
Okay, and who does the monitoring to make sure that they're adhering to the guidelines that we have set forth?
That would be our staff in community development.
Okay. And then on the fireworks, are we going to be making sure that they still have to do their due diligence to notify the public?
Yes, part of the new procedures require notification, a minimum of 30 days prior to the event.
Okay.
So anyone that's doing an event is going to have to reach out to staff, get the notification list of surrounding property owners and addresses, and send out those notices.
Okay. Because I know that there are a lot of, out by Shadow Mountain and Granite Hills, a lot of animal owners who don't like the fireworks at all, and are very upset every time these come up. So I want to make sure we at least notify them in plenty of time. Thank you.
Sure. I know we worked closely with some of those property owners that have animals. I had a couple meetings at Shadow Mountain Church with some of the concerned neighbors. They endorsed the changes to the ordinance. The ones that were participating, they came to the Planning Commission hearing and also expressed support.
Well, that's a good job. Thank you.
Quick question: with regard to the ADU zoning code update, we're amending our code to fall in line with state building code. Is that right?
Yes, the state law keeps evolving and changing, but what we're really trying to do is kind of make sure that we're treating the urban lot splits and ADUs the same way. So state law says that you have to have a minimum 4-foot setback, but our code right now allows detached accessory buildings with a 3-foot setback and a 12-foot height limitation. So we want to make sure that when someone comes to the counter and they say, can I convert my garage to an ADU? The answer is yes, but sometimes someone will come in and say, well, I want to put it at 3 feet and not 4 feet. So we don't want to say, well, if you build the garage, then you can convert it. It's really just putting it so it's more streamlined. So it's just you come in and say, if you meet those accessory structure setbacks, you move forward with your building permit.
A lot quicker. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. And then with regard to the motels, you had mentioned that there is going to be a mechanism with regard to some kind of monetary fine if the motel exceeds the one call per room per year. Did I hear that correctly, or to recoup the cost?
So we added language in the zoning code that refers back to the nuisance abatement procedures, which allows the city to recover costs associated with that.
Okay.
But we also added the procedures, so it's more detailed about providing notice to the motel operator and then working with staff.
Right.
So we would first go through those new procedures that we put in place, and then if those nuisance activities continue to occur, we would work with the city attorney's office and then go through the nuisance abatement procedure.
Nuisance abatement so translated, if there's a nuisance motel that's continuing having excessive calls for service, we go through the process of notifying them and working with them. And then if those nuisance activities continue, we will have a mechanism to recoup the cost for the excessive calls for service for our police and fire coming out excessively.
Yes,
Okay.
and the nuisance abatement procedure is not a new procedure. That's an existing procedure that's in the municipal code. So like if there was a substandard home or other uses out that are causing a nuisance, it's the same procedure.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Thank you. No, appreciate it.
I know. Have we had any SB 9 lot splits yet?
We've had applications, and there's some in process, but none that have been completed.
Okay. The two-story ADUs, I think I heard you say going from 20 to 25 feet in order to accommodate a two-story ADU. Go ahead.
If I could clarify. So the height change is just for those, the RM 2500 and RM 6000 zones to go from 20 feet to 25 feet. The height regulations for ADUs are slightly different.
So can you have a two-story ADU?
Yes. So the idea in aligning the urban lot split and the ADU regulations is you essentially follow the setback and height limitations for an accessory structure. So at 3 feet, it's 12 feet, and then at 4 feet, it's a 16-foot height limitation, and then at 5 feet, it goes up to 20 feet. So that basically sets your building setbacks or your building envelope where you can construct. So what it's doing is aligning those regulations. So if you come in and you want to propose an ADU that's within the primary height restriction for like a single-family home at 35 feet, you could do that. But then if you encroach into the rear yard setback down to that 5 foot, you drop it down to 20, drop it down to 16, and then drop it down to 12 as you get closer to your neighbors.
Okay. And the idea is you don't want a two-story ADU 3 feet away from your property line where they're looking right down your backyard.
Yeah, the idea is really just to incentivize the placement of these structures within that primary building envelope so that there's more flexibility in that area, and then to have it step down.
What if somebody built a garage with a 3-foot setback, and then they say, I want to make that an ADU, but an ADU requires a 4-foot setback? What happens?
Well, we have it in the code, in the update, to say that it can occur at a 3-foot setback. You just have to meet that 12-foot height limitation. So that's where we're trying to treat someone that comes into the counter and says, I want to build a garage, the same way as someone that comes in and says, I want to build an ADU.
Okay. I talked to somebody recently who opened up a new animal hospital on Broadway, and I think they were waiting on the city for some zoning. Has that been fixed and addressed, or is that in process?
That was one of those things that we discovered in conjunction with this code update. So that's where we're proposing to align the vet hospital allowed areas with the same as medical uses. It'll still require a discretionary application for that individual that he'll need to move forward with. But when he brought that issue to our attention, we said, you know what, that makes sense. We'll bring it forward to City Council. We want to treat everyone the same way.
Sounds good. On the calls for service for motels, is that police and fire, EMS, or just police?
It's technically nuisance calls for service. So in each circumstance where we've talked about lodging establishments, we've gone through each individual call and looked at the origin of that call and really if it related to like a noise disturbance or if it was someone being pulled over for a traffic violation. So it's really just nuisance calls.
Okay, to the city manager, there was a motel and it had like 200 calls for service. And 3/4 of those were to fire EMS and just 1/4 to police. Clearly 200 calls was excessive with 3/4 of those going to fire. It's possible they could not trigger their nuisance. but still have 200 calls for service.
That's correct. That's correct. And I think some of the flexibility that this code language gives us as well is it allows, well, we've been really focused on police and fire lately, but it could involve city attorney time, it can involve code enforcement time, city manager's office time. So this allows us to recover costs from a broader spectrum of issues. So it gives us some more flexibility. But to your point, you're right. You could have legitimate medical calls for service, and we would not trigger that as a nuisance call.
I don't think a legitimate medical call should be a trigger, but I think if they're getting 150 calls to the property, there's probably some not medical emergency calls.
Something's happening. Correct. It's just an anomaly.
So we may want to revisit that measure in the future. I think it's a good place to start. Finally, the fireworks. Streamlining is great. Anytime you can reduce fees and red tape, that's good for the community. Is this for certain days certain, like July 4th or Labor Day? Or, of course, with the high school, they'll have homecoming, and that's a variable date. But tell us more about the parameters of why it's not required.
So the proposed code updates would just allow 2 events per calendar year. And so the idea is that you could have those 2 events, whether it's high school homecoming or maybe graduation. You know, we've seen other circumstances where Grossmont High School wanted to have some fireworks in conjunction with graduation. So it's really looking to streamline for those public institutions and religious facilities to be able, that have the adequate size to have these types of events, but just 2 per year.
Often these notifications are just within 300 feet of the subject property. Is that what the notification area is for this project, or is it expanded?
The notification area would be 300 feet, but there's a provision in the code that says anyone else that requests notification in writing. So the citizen that I worked with and met with, she hosts a Facebook group, and she sent out notices to her friends. She's already provided me her contact information, and so they can forward that to us, and staff will maintain that.
So with not only just the 300 feet, but anybody else who opts in.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Good answer. Thank you.
One last question on the fireworks. What's the how long in advance do the notifications have to go out before the event?
They have to go out 30 days in advance.
A month. Perfect.
Gary, anything? A couple quick questions. ADU that has a garage, is that part of the 1,200 square feet?
No.
Okay. Laundry rooms and accessory buildings like that?
Laundry rooms, anything that's part of the living space. So if it's part of the living space for the ADU would be counted towards that 1,200 square feet.
Okay. And I had heard that we were getting a special program for financing for people with their ADUs, low interest loans, and the like. Did that happen yet?
We are working on developing that program, but that hasn't been exactly implemented yet.
It's funded as part of your next CDBG round, which we're not eligible to spend right now anyway. So we're in the process of developing that. And then once those monies can be spent, we should be close to being ready.
Sounds good. Thanks, Noah.
Sure.
Okay. So cancel. Any questions? The public hearing is now open. Angela, do we have any speaker cards for this?
We received no cards, sir.
Let me make a motion to close public hearing. Second. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Looking for a motion.
Move to adopt the resolution approving the CEQA exemption and move to introduce the ordinance in order approving zoning code amendment number 2023-001.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote, and the title of the ordinance is an ordinance approving zoning code amendment number 2023-0001 for amendment of Title 17 of the El Cajon Municipal Code for economic development, housing, and other minor technical changes, revisions, and edits.
Thank you for that. All right, on to administrative reports. We have 3 administrative reports on today's agenda. You know what? We need to take a quick break. Be back in 5 minutes. Okay, where were we? Administrative reports. Item 12 is regarding the city council meeting schedule. I'll ask the city manager to please introduce this item.
Mr. Mayor, the City Council has traditionally canceled one of its meetings in August. Staff would recommend that the council consider canceling the August 22nd meeting with the knowledge that that could be rescheduled in the event of an issue that needs to be brought forward. But at this point, staff would recommend the council cancel that meeting.
Council, any questions? Any speaker cards on this item?
No speaker, sir.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept that. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
Next item is on the Wells Park improvements, and our staff tell us about this. Oh, the prize winner.
Thank you. One moment, please. Okay. Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, council members, and city staff. My name is Sydney Grube. I'm Assistant Engineer in the Public Works Department, and I will be presenting on the Wells Park Improvements Basketball Courts project. So to begin, the project site for the new basketball courts is located on the western boundary of the park, adjacent to the mini-pitch soccer court and the adult fitness area. This location was selected to deter illicit activity in this area and bring more active recreation here. Public Works collaborated with the Parks and Recreation Department on different design options, ultimately settling on the idea of 2 basketball half courts. In addition to the courts, the project also included installing new electrical conduit, decorative park lights, benches, and trash and recycling receptacles. The project design was completed in May of 2022 and was awarded to R.L. Lee Construction in September for $242,771. This project was fully funded using federal Community Development Block Grant funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Construction began in November of 2022. This included the installation of electrical conduit and grading of the site in preparation for a large concrete pour. The new 6,352 square foot slab is 5 inches thick with steel reinforcement. As you can see on the slides, the left shows the site after rebar was placed, and the right shows the pump used to pour the concrete for the entire slab. Following completion of the concrete slab, we then awaited an extended period for the arrival of decorative steel light poles, which took approximately 5 months to arrive. After performing a final job walk with the contractor early this month on May 2nd, construction was deemed complete and the courts were opened up to the public. You can see here the final completed project. Here is a before and after shot comparing the previously vacant empty field with the new basketball improvements. And here's another before and after showing the new sidewalk leading to the courts, along with new lighting that illuminates both the adjacent adult fitness area and the new improvements. Additional features installed at the site include fencing behind the 2 basketball hoops, 5 decorative trash and recycling receptacles, 4 decorative light poles and fixtures, and 4 concrete benches with center armrests and anti-skate deterrents. Here you can see the courts at night with the new lighting. The light fixtures were designed to concentrate light onto both the basketball courts and the existing adult fitness area, without spilling over into the neighboring apartments. The lights can really help brighten an area of the park that previously had little to no illumination at night. With the project complete, the city will be hosting an official grand opening ribbon-cutting ceremony this Thursday, May 25th, starting at 4 p.m., and I would like to invite all of council members to attend. I'd also like to update you on the progress of the emergency work that City Council authorized on March 28th to renovate the public restrooms at Wells Park. The contractor has completed the construction of new exterior block walls, which converts 6 individual private restrooms into separate men's and women's beach-style bathrooms. Large skylights have been added to increase lighting and ventilation into the facility. Upcoming work includes all new bath and lighting fixtures, roofing, and paint. We expect the restroom renovations to be completed by the end of June. In conclusion, the recommended action is that City Council accepts the Wells Park Improvements Basketball Courts project and authorizes the City Clerk to record a notice of completion and release the bonds in accordance with the contract terms. Thank you, and staff is available for questions.
Thank you. Nice report. Any questions? Steve?
What time does Wells Park close?
I believe it closes, I'm actually going to refer to the
9:30, I'm hearing?
Parks and Rec.
9:30. Okay, that's good, because in case there's basketballs that close to the apartments, 9:30 seems to be reasonable. It's a well-engineered. Can you go back to the additional features slide? I'll tell you what the smart thing is for bad shots like me. You can see if I airball that basket, it's going to hit either that black fence, or if I really overshoot the basket and then backboard, there's a larger fence behind it with a buffer zone, so the neighbors aren't going to get a lot of basketballs. They shouldn't get any basketballs in there. That's how smartly designed this project was. So well done on that, and congratulations. And congratulations on your award. It was just such a pleasure. Sydney got this award in front of like 500 peers and professionals who design, build, operate, maintain. So great work.
Thank you.
Joe?
Thank you for the presentation. It's well done. And I just have a comment. Basically, the parks are for the people. And putting in basketball courts, our soccer pitch, putting in all the amenities that you guys worked so hard to design and put in, I think is being well received. I've heard a lot more that Wells Park is becoming better, and it's for the citizens, and the more we put out there, the more amenities that we have, the more lighting, and people are going, keeps those who would bring it down. And I think this is a great addition to our park, and thank you very much for your work on it.
Thank you.
Else? Thank you. And please tell the rest of your staff thank you for all their help. Why did you have to wait 5 months for a poll?
There was a really long lead time on this item, and it continued to be delayed by the manufacturer.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Angela, did we receive any speaker cards for this?
No speaker cards, sir.
All right. Would somebody like to make a motion then?
Move to accept Wells Park Improvements, job number 183610, PWCP, and authorize the city clerk to record a notice of completion and release the bonds in accordance with contract terms.
Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
Our last administrative report is item 14. It's a legislative report from Assistant City Manager Vince DiMaggio, who always, this is a very uplifting part of the program. Everybody's going to be happy after this, so.
Oh, I wish that were true. I'm taking this a little bit different approach this time, as I typically come to you in past legislative sessions with a long list of bills that we really, don't like, don't find a whole lot of enjoyment in reading. But I wanted to kind of come a little bit earlier and explain the process, because we are dealing with 2,600 bills that have been submitted since the start of the session. And so there's a couple of things that have happened since I wrote this report, and that happened on last Thursday, which was called the suspense hearing. Okay, so any bill that is proposed at the beginning of the session, if it can, virtually any bill can go into the Appropriations Committee, because either there's going to be an appropriations of funding from the state government, or they're going to require us at the local level to have an appropriation of some kind. So one of the political gymnastics that is done in Sacramento is the committee, let's say on public safety, or a committee on whatever, agriculture, will look at a bill and they'll say, gee, I kind of like that. I want it on my record that I'm going to vote for it. So they vote for it subject to it getting through appropriations. So they vote for it and then they kick it to appropriations, and then twice a year it sits in appropriations until this magical suspense hearing. And literally hundreds, if not thousands, of bills are decided in one day. And all this back channel communication goes on, and they just decide all at once which bills will advance and which bills won't advance. And so if a bill moves forward, it will go right back through, it will get approved through appropriations that day, go into its main committee that it's supposed to be in, and resume its process. If it's held in suspense, it's essentially dead for the session. It can be amended by the author, and request for reconsideration can be made, and it may come back later in the session depending upon the scope and scale of the amendments that are being proposed. So those are some of the ways that a bill can change its scope between the time it's actually filed and the suspense hearing. So the suspense hearing happened Thursday. We're tracking as many bills as we possibly can with the help of League of California Cities. And I just want to go over a few of them, because later on in June I will come back and I'll be able to report on many, 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 many more bills and how they may or may not affect us if they're still alive. So beginning with a very significant bill that will affect many departments, many police departments around the state, is AB 742. This essentially will prohibit the use of canine officers for all intents and purposes in the apprehension of suspects. Canine officers that are trained to detect narcotics will still be able to be used, but essentially canine officers that are trained specifically to apprehend suspects, that's just not going to be something anymore. And so this is already just about through the Assembly, and it will go on to the Senate after that. If you read the preamble to this bill, it's all being tied to some of those terrible things that we saw during the civil rights movements in the South, of using dogs to intimidate protesters and intimidate those seeking, to affirm their civil rights. Has nothing to do with the valiant work that canines do in protecting human officers from going into dangerous situations. So it's an example of how we're politicizing this one issue in a way that really has nothing to do with the effectiveness. And if we look at the statistics show that the number of canine injuries occurring with suspects who've gotten canine bites, it's very, very small. Canines are trained, highly trained. They know how to use their bite to not inflict serious injuries, and that's how they operate. Unfortunately, logic is not prevailing here, and this is going to continue to move forward, I fear. Although there is some opposition. It did not go through the committee unanimously. There is some opposition, and opposition on the Democratic side as well. So we do want to keep an eye on this. AB 67 proposes to create the homeless courts pilot program, a little bit complementary to what Governor Newsom was doing with care courts. This is also making its way through the Assembly after Thursday. It came out of suspense, and it's moving forward again. AB 550, which requires cities and counties to establish their own formal point-in-time counts, that died. So that's dead. In terms of in terms of planning and land use, which we're always very concerned about, one of the major bills, there are many of these, there are hundreds of land use bills out there that we're going to have to keep an eye on, but a couple of them that Mr. Shute made me aware of. SB 405 requires cities to survey each and every property owner affected by a rezoning part of a housing element update. Now that could be thousands of properties when you do a housing element update. It's massive. Fortunately, that died as of Thursday. SB 576 now this is an interesting one. I really don't know the logic behind this, but SB 576 would prohibit high-density housing within a 5-mile radius of any military installation. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, Santee, would be basically out of their entire northern part of their city would be kind of crossed off for any housing. That's virtually dead. Has nothing to do with us, but it was just kind of an interesting thing. Very important piece of legislation, I made note of it in my report, is SB 761. This was kind of discovered by staff. League of California Cities did not have this on their radar. Interestingly enough, it was proposed by Senator Laird, who's from my neck of the woods up in Santa Cruz and Monterey County. Doesn't usually propose these type of things, so it was kind of surprising to see it. But essentially, it allowed the Attorney General to open an investigation if, in their opinion, violation of civil rights could occur if the city pursued a particular program. So the city does not have to actually adopt the program and actually violate someone's civil rights with the program. Just the potential that a given program may violate someone's civil rights, in the opinion of the Attorney General's office, was enough to trigger an investigation. That died. So that died in the suspense hearings on Thursday. And I think that was very important, because that's kind of like the old movie many years ago called Minority Report. Let's arrest the person before they actually commit the crime, right? So I wanted to close this brief update with you have a resolution in support of sentencing enhancements for fentanyl, and I want to bring to your attention an update on several bills that have to do with sentencing enhancements on fentanyl. They are AB 1058, SB 237, SB 325, and I'll save the best for last. I say that facetiously. SB 701. So AB 1058's Jim Patterson's bill out of the Central Valley, Fresno. It's very reasonable, which means it's probably not going to go anywhere. It's if you possess 28 grams of fentanyl, your sentencing enhancement could anywhere be between 4 and 6 years on top of your sentence. That's the type of thing that the mayors and elected officials were hoping to get out of the legislature, which is why 400 of them signed letters and were trying to get places at committee hearings to express their desire to do this. Right now, that is actually still alive. It hasn't died yet. It's being asked for some amendments, and it will be reconsidered later in the session. Now, what could happen is there is a second suspense hearing later in the term, so it could still die in the suspense hearing. It could go directly, once he amends it, it will go probably back to appropriations. It will sit there for a while until the next suspense hearing. So I'm not real optimistic about it, but there's a slight chance here. SB 237, that's interesting. It's another sentencing enhancement. It doesn't talk about any sort of amount of fentanyl. It couples fentanyl with heroin and cocaine, which is already in the law for sentencing enhancements, and increases sentencing enhancements for dealing from 4, 5, and 6 years to 7, 8, and 9 years, and for trafficking 7, 10, and 13 years, respectively. This one is also under reconsideration and subject to the same type of movement that Mr. Patterson's bill is. SB 325, same bill, almost identical to SB 237, and it's also in reconsideration. And finally, for your entertainment, is SB 701, which is moving quickly through the process as a, quote, sentencing enhancement bill. It will enhance sentencing, that's true, but you have to be in possession of 1 kilo of fentanyl, which which Mr. Mitchell and I were dusting off our 7th grade math skills, and that's 2.2 pounds of fentanyl. Or, looking at it a different way, 1.5 million doses. You have to be caught with this in order to have your sentence enhanced. So it's only for 3 years. So you get a 3-year sentencing enhancement for 1 kilo of fentanyl in your possession. So you see what the game is here. It's a way to vote for sentencing enhancement without it being a sentencing enhancement, because it's completely out of the realm of possibility that anything like that will ever happen. It's very frustrating. It's because there are hearings that are happening this week. Tomorrow is a hearing. League of California Cities requested to speak at the hearing, was not even responded to. The 400 elected officials that asked to speak, that asked to participate, not even responded to. So we've come a long way, because when Mr. Mitchell and I started our careers, if the league said this is not a good bill, it was dead. And now the league says at least listen to the elected officials, and they don't even want to do that. So we've crossed some line into the surreal here. But there's, for some reason, I think it has to do with what their perception of fentanyl dealing or trafficking is. They do not want people to go to jail. And that's what this is all about. This is all about, there is a substantial number of people in the legislature that don't feel incarceration is effective. And so they're not going to do anything about fentanyl sentencing enhancements. And that's kind of where we're stuck. So the resolution before you, we will continue, if you approve it, we will use it to share with those bills that are moving through the process that are actual sentencing enhancement bills. And those would be the bills that I went over before I went into 701. So I'm able to answer any questions. We recommend you accept this report and then consider adopting the next resolution on the fentanyl sentencing enhancements.
Any questions? Phil, go ahead.
Yeah, and I don't expect you to have an answer, but maybe with your next report. So we talk about SB 57 early release and the change in definition of violent crimes. Are there any bills going through any side of the legislature that's addressing changing the definition of those previously violent crimes, which are no longer violent crimes? Can you look into if there's any bills making their way through the legislature with regard to that?
There is a bill that seeks to take out identity theft and a couple of other crimes from the definition of shoplifting. Right now, identity theft is actually included in part for a certain type of theft, is included in the definition of shoplifting. There's a bill that seeks to separate that, and I can't remember, there's two other offenses that are being separated out. But I'll look specifically at what you're talking about. You're talking about violent crimes, so I'll look into that specifically.
Violent crimes that have been reclassified as to nonviolent crimes, and then therefore there's no prison time or they're early released. I know our police department, Prop 57, has just kept criminals on the street, and it's not good for our communities. We're getting the effects of that. And then the other thing I'll say, with the lack of support for enhancements for drugs, it's almost as if the state legislature is protecting the cartel's dealers.
Right.
At a certain point, what other conclusion could you come to ensure that these dealers are staying on the street, and job security, and it's poison to our communities. It's destroying people's lives. It's really sad.
Anybody else? The canine one, how likely is that to pass?
I think it's very likely. I mean, unless something derails it in the Senate, it looks like it's going to be approved in short order in the Assembly, and we'll see what happens in the Senate.
Thanks. Okay. Is there any speaker cards on this item?
We have no speakers, sir.
Okay. Looking for a motion.
I'll move to support the resolution supporting the sentencing enhancements.
Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
Item 15 is my activities report, which is as reported. Deputy Mayor Steve Goebel.
I see that a May 18th MTS meeting didn't make it onto my report, but I had that last Thursday. Also, Councilmember Hall and I from Santee attended a Smart Cities conference in Denver this past week, and it was just a real eye-opening, futuristic look at connected cities. One of the items was, for instance, in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Clay, you'll appreciate this because it was the treasurer, actually got some FaceTime before the group. If they have a $30 parking ticket, it drops to $20 if you pay within 24 hours, and they actually have a QR code on the parking ticket. And they also use QR codes on other things such as permits, licenses, and other paperwork that goes straight to the payment portal, speeding up the collection of money, and they get a 92% collection rate using that kind of methodology. Also, One of the things that excited me, that was a vendor who has essentially a dash cam. You put this on public works vehicles, and as they drive through town, it automatically detects 12 or more road hazards, anything from debris to the percentage that a crack in the road will turn into a pothole, to potholes, to all sorts of things. And those are connected and send real-time information back to Public Works, allowing them to prioritize projects instantly as they happen. So there are a lot of neat things happening with connected cities, and I think there's some opportunities for us.
Nice. Thanks, Steve. Phil?
Mine is as reported, and I wanted to share a brief conversation I had with a resident at the America on Main Street kickoff. One of the ladies that we did the El Cajon community cleanup with, Michelle, came up to us and said, I had one of my friends visit El Cajon from out of state, and the last time she was here was 3 years ago. She noticed the encampments and homeless situation has been cleaned up compared to 3 years ago. And she said the city looks a lot better than it did 3 years ago. So anecdotal evidence, I'll take it. I thought that was very encouraging that someone who came here 3 years ago and then came today has seen a noticeable difference with our efforts. And so I figured I'd share that with staff and council and the community, that while it doesn't seem like on the surface, there's a lot of work to do. People notice, and we're entrenched in it frequently. We don't see we don't notice the changes, but year over year, other people do. So I thought that was a very encouraging story to be told.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it. Michelle?
As reported, yes, we are seeing changes being made, and progress is being made. It just takes time. That's it.
Okay, there are no joint council member reports. There are no general information items. No first or second readings of ordinances on today's agenda. And now we're at closed session. The city attorney will recite the title and lead us into the closed session.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. The City Council will meet in closed session on one item, and that's for the performance evaluation of the city attorney under Government Code Section 54957 sub B, paragraph 1.
I make a motion then to adjourn the closed session. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to closed session. We'll be back fairly quickly to end the meeting. From closed session, I will give it to our attorney to report on the happenings of closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council met in closed session on employee performance evaluation of the city attorney, and the evaluation was performed.
This brings us to adjournment. The adjourned regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, held this 23rd day of May 2023, is adjourned till Tuesday, June 13th, 2023 at 3 o'clock p.m. Thank you very much.